Salaam alaikum, Imam. Look at these ayat. What jumps out at you? You know, if we take a look at some of these ayat, we might be able to go a little deeper inside ourselves and remember that saying the right things is excellent. This is great nasiha. But what about responding to the right things? Saying the right ayah, the right hadith, reflecting on the right principle in the right moment. This is what, inshallah, I'm hoping I can share with you and perhaps give you a sample of what's to come. Take a look at these ayat. Let's start with the first one. Very, very often when somebody's going through a problem, we tend to reflect on the notion that life is a test. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ, right? Does that always work with people? What if somebody has a low level of iman? What if somebody doesn't even understand the ayah? What if somebody has spent their entire lives being told life is a test, get over it? What if that was said to you during a time where you were feeling very burdened with the role that you have, perhaps a counseling case that was so complex that nobody could help? How would it make you feel to hear those words? I imagine you would automatically stop and think and say, yes, of course, this is definitely right. Or perhaps somebody says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah. Have sabr. And this is correct. This is the right thing to say. Of course, nobody would doubt that. But are you not having sabr? Of course you have sabr. Sabr ala ta'a, an al-ma'siyah, fil bala'. You're not saying, وَمَا نَقُولُ إِلَّا مَا يَرْضِي رَبُّنَا, right? You're saying what pleases Allah. And then it goes deeper and deeper. It goes down. We push those emotions. We push them down. We suppress them. Or perhaps you reflect on the ayah that المؤمن الذي يخالط الناس ويصبر على أذاهم أعظم أجرا من المؤمن الذي لا يخالط الناس ولا يصبر على أذاهم. And again, that ayah وَلَنَصْبِرَنَّ عَلَى مَا أَذَيْتُمُونَا. It hits hard, doesn't it? See, several ayat can be used for different emotional situations or states. But I think for a lot of imams, I'm not sure, inshallah not you, but ghayz starts to kick in. And then you're reminded, وَالْقَاضِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. But how many imams do you know that started to say things that resemble هَلَكَ النَّاسِ? And you know the hadith, إِذْ قَالَ الرَّجُلُ هَلَكَ النَّاسِ فَهُوَ أَهْلَكَهُمْ. And now, of course, sometimes what ends up happening is this process continues and continues until we start to seclude, to avoid, and start to not engage in the things that we used to do, that we used to love doing. Now, of course, this comes with the pressure of any role in any community, in any job. But here, man najat. What's the salvation? How do you get out of it? Perhaps I can say, أمسك عليك لسانك وليسعك بيتك وابكي على خطيئتك. This is a hadith. Does it work for you? Can you just stop, stay home, say nothing, and cry over your mistakes? Many people, most people have that luxury of just quitting. I know you don't. So perhaps I'll give you a different hadith to reflect on. لا ينبغي للمؤمن أن يذل نفسه. قالوا كيف يذل نفسه يا رسول الله؟ قال يتعرض من البلاء لما لا يطيق. And sometimes, if I'm accurately representing this hadith, you get put into a position that is way too much, especially when it comes to counseling. And this is what, inshallah, through this series, perhaps, the bala can be a little easier and easier. Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman was quoted as saying, Ya Rasulullah, I have a tongue that's sharp and cutting against my family, and I fear that this will lead me to the hellfire. Now we know the response of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أين أنت من الاستغفار? Of course, istighfar, 100%. But if we go a little deeper and look at the role of Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman radiallahu anh in the community, how he had to hold so much inside. I mean, he knew the munafiqeen, just like you know the inner challenges of the community. You know things that nobody else knows. From time to time, you might be praying, and the guy beside you, you know that he's doing terrible things. And the fact that you have the responsibility of helping guide people without even the opportunity to talk to anybody about it. I mean, undoubtedly, this is going to creep into your home. Now, again, I'm not assuming anything here. I'm just saying it is very, very unlikely that somebody who goes through so much bala, so much challenges, and has the responsibility and the aman on their shoulders, not to have it weigh heavy on their heart. Which is why I want to introduce the counseling sahabi to you and to other imams, inshallah, where I hope we can begin to start crafting a framework around the counseling that you do based on your experiences and your knowledge. And again, if we have to start from scratch, from the beginning, I'm happy to do so. But inshallah, throughout this series, I'm hoping that you'll walk away feeling like counseling in the Muslim community is less of a burden than it definitely is.